In our invisible radio button program, we're going to make an image show up right inside that square, that picture box, when we click on either Snowflake, Thanksgiving, or On the Water radio buttons. We've already got the images loaded into the resources. I'll click on the picture box and you'll see inside the image property there, we've got Chuck and Snoopy, Snoopy Snowflake, and Woodstock Thanksgiving. And we've adjusted the size mode of the picture box to either stretch or zoom, I don't remember which, and they'll fit in nicely. Those images have some long names inside the resources, so we're going to declare some image variables. That's what the img, lowercase img, stands for, is image. So dim img snowflake as image, and it will equal my.resources.snoopy-snowflake. It will be a lot easier to refer to img snowflake instead of my.resources.snoopy-snowflake. We've also got img Thanksgiving as image equals my.resources.woodstock_Thanksgiving. And finally, our third image, img on water as image equals my.resources.Chuck and Snoopy. It's a picture of Snoopy and Charlie Brown on the edge of the water. Once again, when we click on these radio buttons, we want an image to show up in the picture box. I'll double click on Snowflake and you'll notice that by default we go to the CheckChanged event. That's really not what we want. It's just going to cause us a lot of hassle. So we'll go up to this right hand window. Notice there's Rad Snowflake in that middle section and all these possible events that could happen to a radio button. And I'd rather use click instead of CheckChanged. So we'll take the click event and get rid of CheckChanged. Just take my word for it. You can try to write the same code with CheckChanged and you'll see sometimes there are some issues. So when users click on this radio button, we want to display the image with Snoopy in the snow. That's in img snowflake. So pickpeanuts.image, we're going to change that property equals img snowflake. We'll double click on the Thanksgiving radio button, and again by default we receive the CheckChanged event, which is really not what we want here. We'd rather have the click event. So we'll go up, get the click event for this radio button, remove the CheckChanged event, we're not interested in that one, and we'll display the image where Woodstock is pondering Thanksgiving. So pickpeanuts.image will equal img Thanksgiving. We could double click the On the Water radio button and go through the same process, but we can also get it right away inside our code. In that middle section you see a list of all the controls. That's why it's so important to give them good names. There's Rad on Water, and we'll go to the right hand side and click on the click event. This is where we display Charlie Brown and Snoopy on the edge of the water. Once again, our picture box is pickpeanuts.image is the property we're going to change, or the property to which we're going to assign the image img on water. Now we can run the program, and when we click on Snowflake, we get Snoopy with the snowflakes. There's Thanksgiving, and there's On the Water. This process also works by pressing the up and down arrow keys. That's what we're using right now. Now, very often when we start a program with radio buttons, one of them is checked. You'll notice that none of them actually are checked this time. Very often, though, one of the radio buttons is checked. And when we reset the radio buttons, one of the radio buttons will need to be checked as true. In many programming languages, the way to deal with the fact that we need a radio button checked as true is to come up with an invisible radio button. That way when we reset the image, we can make the invisible radio button have the checked property of true, and to the user it looks like nothing is checked, and therefore something needs to be checked. We'll go to the toolbox and get one more radio button. We'll keep it in the group box, change its name to RAD Invisible. We can change its text property also to invisible, although no user is ever going to see it. And then importantly, we're going to make its checked property true right when the program begins. And very importantly, its visible property is going to be false. So whenever the invisible radio button is checked true, none of the other three radio buttons will be checked as true, and no one will see it. So we'll click Thanksgiving, snowflake on the water. Now we can code the reset button. Two things need to happen when we reset the form. We want the image in the picture box to go away. So we're going to remove the image from the picture box. We'll say pickpeanuts.image, don't forget the .image, equals nothing. It's very important to say .image. If you say pickpeanuts equals nothing, that means all of a sudden the picture box equals nothing. In which case there's nothing going on for it. We'll never be able to do anything to it again. Now we'll make the checked property of the invisible radio button true. No one will be able to see it because it is invisible. And the users will have to check one of the other radio buttons to see an image. Right now the invisible radio button is checked true. Now we make the other ones checked true by clicking on them. On reset, the invisible radio button is now checked true. No one can see it. Users have no idea it's even there. And again, this concept comes up in many programming languages when you have radio buttons together in a group.